Guys, it's my first Instagram video about my writer's way and writer's style. My name is Denis Darahan and I write big fantasy cycles of dark fantasy and social fantasy detective books when and also I a maker with a big dark fantasy and hell universe in my books, and in this video I would want to talking uh, my Instagram community about my writing styles. First, why do I intentionally overload my writing? I be deliberately make my prose dense because I want readers to experience the world instead of simply following the plot. My fantasy novels focus on efficiency. They move quickly from one event to another. I prefer immersion. The readers should feel the weight of the architecture and atmosphere of every room, the smell of the streets, the texture of clothing, and the emotional pressure surrounding every scene in my text. The goal isn't to make the text complicated, and the goal is to make the world feel physically real. Second, why do I use so many details in my books and in my writing style? Details make a fictional world believable. Without details, a city is just a city. With details, it becomes a place with history, culture, traditions, politics, economics, religion, and everyday life. I don't describe details for decoration. Every detail should answer only one question. What does this tell us about this world, about my world, which I create and making in my dark fantasy, hell and social fantasy detective books? Third, why do I use so many adjectives? Adjectives create emotional precision. One castle isn't the same as an abandoned castle, and abandoned castle isn't the same as a decaying royal fortress. Every adjective changes the reader emotional perception. Of course, adjectives should never replace meaningful description. They should strengthen them. 4. Why do I constantly zoom in and zoom out? Why I do this in my books and in my writing style? In my dark fantasy world and my dark fantasy cycles of books. One of my favorite techniques is changing narrative scale. I begin with a massive story, or then I move to one character, then I return to the political situation, then back to the emotional conflict, then to the entire kingdom. This constant movement makes readers feel that individual lives and the historical events influence each other. The story never becomes too small or too large. 5. Why do I build the world before individual sense? For me, the world always comes first: history, religion, politics, economics, social classes, geography. Only after the scene's foundation exists do I create its scenes, because characters don't exist in isolation. Sorry. They are products of the world around them. Why do I connect every elements together in my books and in my scenes? And nothing should exist independently. Politics affect religion. Religion only affect culture. Culture affects architecture. Architecture affects daily life. Daily life affects characters. Sorry. Characters affects history. Everything influences everything else. That interconnectedness makes the world believable. Is very important on my mind, because how you create your details, you create our world in and our universe in our dark fantasy and detective books. That interconnects makes the world full alive. 7. Why do I prefer large-scale storytelling? Sorry. I love stories where every decision has consequence for beyond one person. Only one person. A single by trial may start a civil war. A marriage may unite a kingdoms. In our books and in our medieval life in our books, a conversation may destroy an empire decades later. Large consequences create emotional weight in your books and in your scenes in our books. 8. What is my overall writing philosophy? I don't write scenes. I build systems, political, magically, and a social system in my books. Every scene belongs to a larger structure. Every characters belong to a large conflicts. Every conflict belongs to a larger world in my books, where every liar supports every other liar. The story feel much bigger than the number of page suggests.